We're live. So I actually read the book Mastery by Robert Greene, and I thought it'd be actually a really good idea to summarize this because it's with the theme of the day where it's okay to make mistakes. Actually, if you want to reach mastery, you're probably going to want to focus more on progress rather than perfection. It's an old saying is that the master was at one point kind of the clown or like the idiot, but they were okay with making those mistakes. So it's borderline impossible to summarize everything in this book. I highly, highly recommend that you read it. That being said, I'm going to do my best to summarize 10 key concepts so that you can actually learn this. These are some of my favorites. So, first, you got to understand that mastery is all in your control because it's input based. The outcome will come as long as we're focused on the inputs. Robert Greene actually mentions that mastery is not a function of genius or talent, it's a function of time and intense focus applied to a particular field of knowledge. So I use this to apply it to business, my passion in teaching, writing philosophy and books, and of course, real estate investing, because I'm also a real estate investor and I coach a bunch of students with real estate investing. But Robert also mentions that pleasing the crowd is an absolute distraction. Okay? He mentions that to create meaningful work of art or to make a discovery or even to create that business that benefits humanity, you must let go of any need for validation. You must be willing to make those sacrifices, make those mistakes, appear an idiot at times. And I find that this becomes way easier when I just reduce that bar of perfection and just make it that I'm focused on progress. I could always iterate. And something that one of my coaches kind of taught me was that, hey, Pat, in the beginning, when you suck, when you're still new to all this, whether it's real estate, your business, your coaching, writing books, or whatnot, not many people are going to see your mistakes because not many people are going to even see or pay attention to you. And that's okay. As you make mistakes, as you go on to this journey, as you make those sacrifices, as your popularity grows, as you get more attention, more limelight, well, you'll be more of a finished project at that point if you continually focus on mastery. The next thing is you must fall in love with your work. Okay. Very young, I realized that it's way easier for me to get into flow states. And as I noticed those flow states, that pushed me towards the things that I love. Breakdancing causes me to get into a flow state. Teaching causes me to get into flow state. I can teach for 8 to 16 hours, no breaks, no problem. Right. I'll even forget to eat at times if I get into this zone, into this flow state. Investing into real estate, learning marketing, learning business skills, learning these sales, educating myself. These are all things that I found help me with my flow state, and I hope that you guys can access that as well because it's basically impossible to fall in love with mastery if you don't fall in love with your work. Okay. In his book, Mastery, Robert actually says the following: you may choose a career path based on what peers and parents tell you or on what seems lucrative. If you lose contact with this inner feeling, flow state I mentioned, you can have some success in life, but eventually your lack of true desire catches up with you. Your work becomes mechanical. You come to live for leisure and immediate pleasures. In this way, you become increasingly passive and never more moving forward, never moving past the first phase. You may grow frustrated and depressed, never realizing that the source of it is your alienation with your own creative potential. So I always say it's okay to make mistakes. So I have a humanist approach when I'm teaching, and how I even give myself grace is because you can't be creative if you're afraid to make mistakes. And you also alienate other people in that if you're putting all this pressure on them, expecting them to never make mistakes, always be perfect, always just try to help you, well, you're not really allowing people to be human, right? We can't expect everyone to be God level knowledge, never make mistakes, be completely perfect. It's just unnatural. It's unrealistic. And it doesn't lead us into mastery.
I just want to give a shout out to my man Patrick. Just honestly been one of the best teachers that I've ever had.
It's a very informative course. Patrick works with you one-on-one, so if there's any questions or anything you might be doubting or you're uncertain of, he'll definitely be there to help. Honestly, I highly suggest this course. It's taught me a lot through my journey.
And it doesn't motivate others to focus on mastery. Next is going all in means you're going to face your fears. Okay. Robert Greene mentions you must always be prepared to place a bet on yourself, on your future, by heading in the direction that others seem to be afraid of. As you do that, as you show not just yourself, but other people that are watching how you can surpass your fears, now you're also getting real life proof that you can win regardless of the difficulties, regardless of the fear. And you can also motivate people and show them you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be completely like fear free. You can take action regardless of that fear. Next idea that I really love is embrace the pivot, right? Robert Greene mentions you must see your career and your vocational path more as a journey with twists and turns rather than just a straight line. In the beginning, you will begin by choosing a field or a position that roughly corresponds your inclinations. This initial position offers you room to maneuver. Okay. When I first started, I never thought I would get into business. I know a lot of my students never really thought about starting a business, never really thought about getting into real estate or thinking it was even possible. When I started as a teacher, honestly, I would be very happy to just teach high school, rest of my life, teach elementary school, teach whatever it is forever, right? Then there were some changes in my life that kind of happened. I got the opportunity to start teaching real estate, start teaching more online, building a following on YouTube, and that allowed me to pivot, right? That initial training and progress and career in teaching allowed me to start that business, take a little bit of risk, take my 2 year sabbatical to really build out the community we have with other aspiring real estate investors that want to build their real estate investing business around their lives and not their life to just all be work. I would not have that opportunity if I didn't follow my inclination of my love for learning and education. Next idea that I really love from Robert Greene and his book Mastery is money can't be the goal. Okay? You do not want to just focus on money. Most often, you will deviate because of the lure of money or more immediate prospects of prosperity. Because this does not comply with something deep within you, your interest will lag and eventually the money will not come so easily. Something directly from Robert Greene. So if we just focus on money, we're going to alienate other people, we're going to alienate ourselves, we're going to start realizing that you'll start making decisions off short-term gains as opposed to the long-term journey of focusing on mastery, right? The money's going to come and go, okay? Especially if you're actually really good at what you do, and also you can create offers and market it properly, okay? Yeah, you might be able to scam some people, get away with that, but it won't last more than 6 months or a year. You won't have that longevity. And honestly, what I've seen is you won't even close those first deals if you're not focused on mastery, not focused on just offering value to people, and not focused on progress instead of perfection. Okay. The money's going to come. I wouldn't worry too much about it, especially if you're genuinely serious about learning to get really good at whatever it is that you're focused on. Could be real estate, could be your business, could be your career. Next, Robert Greene mentions that deep work is key. Okay. I try to have 1 to 4 hours at least of deep work a day. And this is work where I can really focus on what is it exactly that's going to move the needle forward. Maybe it's creating that video, maybe it's chatting with my investors. Maybe it's putting deals together. Maybe it's raising capital. But each day I know what my deep work looks like. And it's not just preparing, it's actually doing the work. Robert Greene mentions that it's better to get to dedicate 2 to 3 hours of intense focus to a skill than to spend 8 hours of diffused concentration on it. You want to be as immediately present in what you're doing as possible. I'll actually even use creating these videos, creating content like this as an exercise of deep work. How focused can I be in this present moment while I'm with you guys creating this content? Next, Robert Greene, one of his principles that I love is reclaim that childlike curiosity. Okay. He says that if we think deeply about our childhood, not only about our memories of it, but actually how it felt, we realize how differently we experienced the world back then. Our minds were completely open. We entertained all kinds of surprising and original ideas. And if you can keep that childlike curiosity, it's going to make you way more interested in what you do. You're going to be okay if people judge you and try to say, oh, it's not going to work out. Because for you, you have that childlike curiosity. You're just interested in it. It was never about the money. It was never about the attention. It was never about just getting a quote unquote result. As a child, you just enjoyed the thing because you got to do it, right? Find out, tap into that childlike curiosity. I loved Lego as a kid. I love drawing. I actually want to be an architect at one point. And those skills actually allowed me to learn how to design kitchens. I actually look at IKEA kitchens as adult Lego. I get it. I've been there before where I get super frustrated. And that's where I find that I'm thinking from my adult mind. But when I'm just having fun, hanging out with friends, or even my dad back when we still used to do renos, I felt like a kid again. Just putting together this cabinet, trying to figure out what piece goes what, trying to see how do we make it, trying to even design it on the computer. It made me feel like I was a little bit of a mini architect, mini designer, designing my own kitchens for real estate. Now, Robert Greene also mentions that creativity is an art. It's going to be a little bit of a longer quote, but he mentions that you must begin by altering your very concept of creativity, by trying to see it from a new angle. Most often, people associate creativity with something intellectual, a particular way of thinking. The truth is that creative activity is one that involves the entire self, our emotions, our levels of energy, our characters, and our minds. To make a discovery, to invent something that connects with the public, to fashion a work of art that's meaningful, inevitably requires time and effort. This often entails to years of experimentation, various setbacks and failures, and the need to maintain a high level of focus. You must have patience and faith that what you're doing will yield something important. You could have the most brilliant mind, teeming with knowledge and ideas, but if you choose the wrong subject or problem to attack, you can run out of energy, run out of interest. In such a case, all of your intellectual brilliance will lead to nothing. Okay. You want to look at yourself as a creative project, right? It is going to require time. It is going to require effort. It is something that you want to have faith and full belief that this is going to work out, right? Even with real estate investing, I always tell people it's simple, but it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. There would be no need for people to offer coaching like I do. There'd be no need to document the process because everyone would just already know how to do it. But that's not the case. So really look at your work, your investing, your passions, and yourself as like its own project. You can be the piece of art, your work can be the piece of art. You need to treat it as such. Finally, the last thing that I loved about Robert Greene's book, Mastery, is the idea that you must learn from errors and don't be waiting to be told. Okay. Robert Greene mentions mistakes and failures are precisely your means of education. They tell you about your own inadequacies. It is hard to find out such things from people as they're often political with their praise and criticisms. Okay? This is why I want to surround myself with a team that values transparency, that values that we're all humans. We're not perfect, godlike beings that are never going to make uh, error. That's also how I teach my students, because our errors, our mistakes lead us into learning opportunities. Okay. Sure, I'm a decent copywriter. I've made some money online. I've written emails that have made thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars online. Cool, but I still make mistakes. I still want to show my team that I'm constantly learning. One of my copywriters, he spends hours a week improving his skills. And I like to do the same. Same with marketing, still learning. Same with real estate. Some of those bigger deals, I'm still learning how to put that together. I always tell people I'm not like a guru. I'm a few steps ahead. I can help people out, but I'm not immune to making errors. The key here is that you want to identify the error, make the change on the mistake, and then learn how to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, quickly recap some of the 10 things that I loved about Robert Greene's book, Mastery, are the following principles. First is that mastery is totally in your control. It's all about focusing on the input. Next, don't focus on pleasing the crowd. That is an absolute distraction. Some people are going to like you, some people aren't. You don't need validation as long as you're focused on mastery and getting better and offering value to the world. Third, you gotta love your work. Okay? It makes it way easier. If someone loves their work, they will outperform anyone else because they're not working. They're looking at it as play. Next is you want to go all in, which means you gotta face your fears. The journey can be scary, especially when you're paving your own path. Some people won't understand, some people will understand, but you need to go through that fear. Next, embrace the pivot. It's okay to make changes. And you want to look at each position that you enter, each phase in your life helps set you up to pivot and make changes in the future. 6, money can't be the goal. You want to do this for mastery. Personally, I like to do it for a higher power. You decide if you want to do that. You can be religious, spiritual, whatever it is. The goal can't just be money. Realistically, you don't take money with you to the grave. 7 is deep work is key. You got to develop that focus. Things are going to get thrown your way. You still got to focus on that task and concentrate at least 2 to 3 hours of intense focus on this skill that you're trying to learn, whether it's real estate or the other. Get back your childlike curiosity. Learn to love the whole process, be completely open minded, and entertain all these different and original ideas. Next, creativity is an art. You want to look at yourself as like this personal art project, your work, your career, your investing as a personal art project. It's going to require time, it's going to require effort, but if you choose the right path, you will be able to unlock your own personal genius. And then finally, you got to learn from your errors, right? Don't wait till you be told what the errors are. Be proactive and find the errors and see how you can learn each day. I make mistakes every day. That's fine. As long as I have the mindset of not beating myself up, not having this crazy high expectation that I need to be perfect to be good enough. In fact, we live in a time, honestly, the bar is set so low that you can actually get incredible results as long as you're learning from your errors. Okay. Again, hey, we're all human. No need to judge people that make mistakes as long as we're all learning from it. Hope that helps. You guys are awesome. I know this book, Mastery, has helped me a ton. So I highly, highly, highly suggest that you give it a read. Even the audiobook's really good. Let me know your thoughts. Drop in the comments below. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I appreciate everyone that's subscribing, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. You guys are blessed. So see you guys next time and peace.